Hello, my name is Amir Odom, and today we're just gonna jump right into this video. I don't want to waste your time. I'm not gonna try to feed into your emotions or anything like that. This video is very bare bones, little to no speculation, because honestly, I'm just over the race discussion and there's so much to talk about when it comes to this case. In this video, I am not defending Karmelo and I'm not defending Austin either. It's a horrible situation, but I do feel that there's just so much to discuss. I'm just throwing at you what we got from the police reports and from witnesses there. I'm not gonna get into, oh, well, this charge is gonna be this, or well, it's gonna be this, or this way. No, we're just gonna go based off of what we literally have from what went down. I'm so over this black versus white, this versus that. You have to take this side. If you're not taking this side, then that means you're automatically taking this side. No. What happened to discernment? What happened to just letting things play out in the court? What happened to taking in every little thing that's going on with the case and bringing in a fresh perspective, so to say? Just seeing how emotional people are getting over this case, both on the left and the right, is very shocking to me, given that it's 2025 and I thought we were over this. So like I said, we're just gonna dive right into this video. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe. What happened? I'm going to break this down at like a second grade level. Very, very bare bones, very, very just like exactly looking at the police reports. What information do we have, given that what today is the Friday the 18th and we have no videos yet of what went down? What do we know? What we know is that Karmelo went under a tent. Austin told Karmelo to leave. Karmelo said no. Austin touched Karmelo. Karmelo said, touch me again and see what happens. Austin touched Karmelo. Karmelo said, poke, poke. That's it. That's all we have right now. Everything else is hearsay. Everything else is speculations, or oh, they were stealing, or they were fighting, punching. Like until we have video or a more detailed account of what exactly went down under the tent, that's all the information that we really do have. Did Austin deserve to die? No. Did Karmelo go too far by poking the man? Yes. However, did Austin F around and find out? Yes. Again, remove your emotions from this. I want you to put yourself in this scenario. And before we even get into the scenario, I have to point out that I'm not defending Karmelo's actions. I'm just lending some agency back to the person at hand, which, rest in peace, is Austin. If you're in an argument with someone in the year 2025 and they say the words, touch me and see what happens, are you going to proceed and touch them? I'm not saying what Karmelo did was justified. I'm not. It was wrong. It was horrible. It's extremely unfortunate. That was an extreme excessive use of force to me. But rest in peace, I'm also not saying that Austin didn't have something coming. Austin knew something was about to happen. If someone says to you, touch me and sees what happens, and you touch them, you're inviting yourself to the unknown. This doesn't have to be a controversial take. This doesn't have to be some wild opinion. It's literally, that's what that is. Whether it was a punch to be thrown or a fight or some words exchanged, Austin did want to see what happened next. And unfortunately, he got poked. But again, if someone says, touch me and sees what happens, and you proceed to touch them, you wanted to see what would happen. He followed the man's instructions. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that Karmelo is justified or whatever. No, what he did was horrible, but I'm also not going to sit here and act and just remove all self-agency from Austin either. Because again, if that was you in that situation and you're arguing with somebody and they tell you, touch me and sees what happens, are you going to touch them? I'm sure majority of you are saying no. Let's just keep it real. Can two things be true at once? Is it wrong what Karmelo did? Yes, but is it also like kind of wrong that Austin's just like, yeah, let's see what happens, bro? No. Like, to me, this whole case it never started off as racially motivated to me. Because for it to be racially motivated, Karmelo would have to gone out there and seek out a white person. But we know, at least from no videos, all from, statements given to the police, that wasn't the case. From what we know, yeah, Karmelo was not where he was supposed to be, but Austin did approach him, and then they kept going back and forth, and Karmelo said, touch me and sees what happens, and then boom, poke, poke. And then you have people saying, okay, well, that doesn't matter because Karmelo was looking for a reason to poke somebody because he had the knife on him at a school track meet. When backing up, everybody and I knew had a pocket knife in school. That was a common thing to have. But also, are conservatives looking for a reason to pew-pew somebody just because they carry at a grocery store? It's like, I'm not a lawyer and I don't know why everybody's acting like they are. Could there be grounds for premeditation because Karmelo knew he was going to grab the poke when he said, touch me and find out and see what happened? Sure, maybe. Could there be grounds to where this doesn't qualify as self-defense because it went to 0 to 100 real quick? Like if Karmelo was getting jumped, then I kind of get the poke, that would be fine. But this was a real huge escalation and not called for. And right now, I just feel like without the videos and without letting the courts go through their due process, there's just too many people hyper emotional and fixated on this case for no good reason. Everything else is just assumptions, and it's turned into the most stupid, borderline, like repeat George Floyd type, like race war BS that I've ever seen, going to the point of even including Karmelo's representative. But when this initially dropped, like when I first found out about this case, it was from my more conservative circles. And you would have thought that a black man just went up to a random white kid, said poke, and ran off. That's clearly not what happened. That's not from me. That's from the reports. That's from what the people that were actually there. There is some context and nuance to the situation. Again, that's not co-signing the horrible things that happened or Karmelo's actions. Is just giving breath to this scenario at hand. It wasn't random. It wasn't, I'm not gonna say unprovoked, but like it wasn't like someone just went up yeet and ran off. That's not what happened. Let's just be honest. I just feel like people need to calm down and wait for due process. Isn't that what we all wanted from the jump anyways? Where are people discernment at? So much hearsay, so many rumors. Well, it's gonna be this charge. No, it's gonna be this charge. He actually did this. Well, I heard this. So and so said this. Literally, why are you like that hyper invested and that like so confident that you have the right receipts? You are right. It is gonna be this. It's gonna be that. Like I'm so tired of the stupid race war. I'm so tired. Every other year, it's always black versus white, this versus that. It's on repeat. And is this the life that you really want to live? Is this what you want to go through every other news cycle? Every other year is some new race where white versus black, white versus black. I don't get it. And for once, I feel like this case almost not could have been swept under the rug, but almost could have not been racial because of the context that it's there. Again, if a black dude just ran up, picked a white boy, said yee and ran off, I get it. It's outrage, it's wrong, it's not okay. But given that there's more context at hand, and given that warnings were exchanged and this and that, even though it escalated to that point, just knowing it wasn't at random, I feel like that could have been a great opportunity for people to be like, oh, okay, move on. We'll let them handle that and move on. But instead, it's turned into black versus white for no reason. I feel like conservatives are just as bad as the liberals drumming up this case. Okay, well, if it was black versus black, we wouldn't have heard of it. Damn Skippy. And if it was white versus white, we wouldn't have heard of it. Damn Skippy. But now, because it was a black kid that stabbed a white kid, now we're outraged because if the roles were reversed, it would have been outrage. Well, it wasn't. Are we not happy about that? Are we happy that the roles weren't reversed? Why are we upset at if statements? Why is this a thing right now? Well, if it was a white kid poking a black kid, all hell would have broke loose. Maybe for once, before we jumped the gun and said that created this race thing, maybe there's a chance that it wouldn't have, because there's a lot of black people, a lot of people in general, stuck on the phrase and the context, touch me again and see what happens. Like, are we really gonna sit here and get mad off of what could have been or created in our mind hypotheticals? Because truly, if there was a video that came out, or not a video, but like this scenario was reversed, and say a white dude was beefing with a black dude, and the white dude said, yo fam, don't touch me, you're gonna see what happens. And then the black dude said, yeet, and then the white dude says, poke, and the black dude, kaput. I almost feel like maybe at how I feel like society has grown, maybe black people would have been that outraged. I don't know. Maybe that's me hoping for the best. But knowing people are stuck on that sentence and the things that went down, I think that's what makes it a little bit different. The support. Now, it's because of that reason, the phrase touch me again and see what happens, that the black community has come out in droves to support Karmelo and his family. This is not surprising to me. It's stupid, it's crazy, but again, it's a free country. You have free will to donate to whatever you want to donate to. At that, We have seen videos of people getting in fights in high school and ended up, kaputting. There's just a lot of people that look at this case as if it was self-defense. And again, I'm not giving agency to that. I'm not saying what Karmelo did wasn't wrong. I'm just the title of this video, why some people are defending Karmelo over Anthony, and it's because of the nuances in a situation that went down at hand. Another reason I'm saying this defense for Karmelo is because if George Zimmerman got off for self-defense for pew-pewing Trayvon Martin, then that means Karmelo should also be set off and free too on the basis of self-defense. Now, we'll say, where was this energy when that did happen? We know Trayvon and Zimmerman were literally fighting, and Zimmerman felt fearful of his life, so Zimmerman said pew pew and went about his day. Now, hindsight's 2020. Yes, we can't go back in the past. We can't change that. But it seems like with this case, Black people kind of learned from that and said, okay, fine, we're gonna keep that logic, we're gonna keep that consistency, and we're gonna apply it to this case here, because he said, don't touch me, and he got touched, and he said, poke poke. That's just where it is. So let's just get more into this case at hand.
Our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
I've seen comments, mainly from the right, being like, hey, why is she crying as if her kid died or this and that? Listen, I don't, where is just looking at scenarios, looking at the scenario. This whole situation is crazy for both families. Yes. Does one of the families have their whole kid gone? Yes. It's unfortunate. It's sad. I get it. But that also doesn't negate that what they're going through too is very sad as well. Kid might be going to jail. Other kids scared. They're getting death threats, a whole 9. It's like, why are we going after their family? If you want to go after Karmelo, sure, but to go after Karmelo's little sister, it's a bit much. Just being honest, it's a bit much, and that's why the mom is all stressed out and crying and whatnot.
The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime.
Facts. Is there potential that they have received other donations from private donors giving them certain things? For sure. This has been happening for years. There's such thing as private donations and like backdoor gifts and all that. That's a thing. But this narrative that they done spent all the money in the Give, Send, and Go, 1, isn't true, confirmed by the Give, Send, Go platform themselves. And 2, it low-key doesn't matter. I don't know why it would. 3, her being upset does not negate the Austin's family and them being upset either. No, but it's not like she doesn't have a right to be upset. Now, she's already upset at the situation that her son Karmelo did to Austin. Yes, that's a horrible situation. But to have all your other kids scared and death threats and ooh up the bam to your point where you have to move for your safety, it's a bit crazy too. And that none of this is in defense of Karmelo against Austin, but it's just looking at the situation at hand with all the cards out. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. This makes sense. This is effed up. This is effed up. Like, just, you don't have to pick a side. You can just look at things objectively and analyze it as it is. In terms of this case, did they actually move? Yes, they actually did move and they're taking care of their family. But I don't understand. I can't see personally why this matters or why it's news. And I feel like this explains why only the right is talking about this and not really the left. It's like the difference in headline Snopes, which Snopes can be biased, but it's literally confirmed from the platform itself. No, family of 17-year-old poking suspect Karmelo Anthony did not buy a house and car with donated funds. That did not happen. And then you got the riot. Karmelo Anthony family moving to $900,000 home in gated community after $1 million bonds lowered. Use donated money. Karmelo family using 401k fund to buy housing. None of this is true. And this is what happens when we move so fast on breaking news and move so fast on these issues at hand. At the bare minimum, use the term allegedly or be like, I think this is what happened. I'm not sure. We got to confirm. But everyone is just running on things that just don't line up. It doesn't make sense. And that's why the left isn't talking about this at all. And this is why I get my news from Ground News. They are mainly like really the only place where I get my news because it has all the sources up in one. So if you want to get involved, you want to stay up to date like I am, be sure to click the link below or scan the QR code here on the screen to get involved. I'm grateful for Ground News because they equip me with the tools that I need to relay the news and relay everything I need back to you guys with at least I can try my best accurate information instead of just blatantly out here talking about they're using their funds to buy cars and houses as if they can't do that themselves or somebody else didn't do it for them. At that, why does it even matter to the case at hand? So major shout out to Ground News. This whole scenario, this is called a blind spot. They have a whole section of articles like this on their website. On the left side, you have all the media that the left isn't talking about, but the right is, like that last story. And on the other side, you have all the media that the left is talking about, but the right isn't. An example of this, right here, the right isn't talking about this at all. Conservation groups named Mississippi River most endangered. If I'm just looking objectively, why isn't the right talking about this? Because it seems like the left and the right never want to just meet in the middle about conservation and the environment. And knowing that the right is always like big into the water and fishing and boating and all that, you would think they would care. But it's like, we're not going to report on this. It's fine, because then it kind of builds. I'm so tired of this damn media being pitted against each other. That's just off the bat what I'm saying, because I'm curious, why isn't the right talking about that? That seems like something they should be talking about. Regardless, if you like how this is all laid out, be sure again to tap the link below, scan the QR code here on the screen. They're giving you 40% off the Vantage plan, which is the one I use, just all the features that we've gone through in this video. It comes out to like the price of a coffee a month. And in this media landscape, it's imperative that you do get a tool like Ground News so you can sift through the news and not feel like you're being swayed a certain way.
So this is Anthony Karmelo and this is Austin Metcalf. Anthony, and I'm going to use the word poke here, but I think you know what I mean, poked Austin unprovokingly to the point of Anthony had $1 million bail, but they ended up lowering it.
We know that it necessarily wasn't unprovoked. It was unprovoked in the sense of that being escalated that fast, but it wasn't at random.
And there is no sympathy for Austin in this situation whatsoever because he's white.
Like, even a little quick quirks like that is what makes these situations so racially charged and just stirs up a divide. It's just because he's white. No, it's not. Because you're saying that, now you're making it seem like, oh wow, it must have been a race thing, and then it gets people drummed up,
Since his bail was lowered and people donated $500,000 in GoFundMe, what did they do with this money? Oh, they didn't spend it on lawyer fees. They put money down on a $900,000 house and a brand new car with people's GoFundMe money.
None of this is true. You know how many people be saying this? Again, I'm not, by fixing these claims, is not giving defense to Karmelo and saying Austin. No, it's just giving the truth. It wasn't even a GoFundMe. It was a give, send, go. And the money's still there. At that, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? If people are donating to that family, whatever you got to do with it. I don't understand. And let's let it finish.
The dad completely stopped working because he claimed that his daughter was just scared at night. How about the mother whose son was unalived? I'm sure she's terrified at night. But no. People are on an actual criminal side. I'd get it if it was self-defense, but it wasn't. It was purely meditated. But that's the world we live in today.
The world we live in today is people making videos like this and spreading things like this without applying context or nuance or just having just an ounce of just patience to wait to report on something. Not even saying that this person that we're talking about right now is some big creator or whatever. It's a mere fact of like, it's because they're white. It wasn't self-defense. This is the world we live in. How can you just get online and speak so definitively? I don't get it. I want to say it's authentic because you're giving your raw opinion and how you feel, but you come onto these platforms and you give your opinion as if it is a fact. We don't have the full facts yet. There's no video out yet. The man hasn't even been to court. It's like, just let it go down in court. Let's figure out exactly what went down. But you acting like you were there. You acting like you have all the receipts. Talking about a GoFundMe, and it was a give, send, go. Talking about they done used all the money to buy a fancy house. It's like, I don't understand why people can't just breathe. I really don't. Why is your emotion so quick to get invested into scenarios and situations like this as if you don't have own shit to take care of it in your own life? Is it possible to look at these stories around the world and the globe and the United States like, that's kind of crazy. I wonder how that's going to turn out. How will this affect my laws over here? How will this affect this and that? Yeah, that's okay to do. But to be this emotionally invested in this case, I don't get it. I would get it if it was at 110% random, but by all parties and all accounts, it was not 110% random as far as we know from the police report and what we know so far. Matt Walsh. Now, Matt Walsh has had a lot of opinions on this case. There are a lot of things I agree with Matt on. There's a lot of things I disagree with Matt on. I do love, much like Candace Owens, you're getting their raw opinions, and that's nice to see. It's nice to see to know that somebody, you are getting their take, although sometimes it can be a bit much and clearly emotion. It's why I don't have a Twitter. I don't tweet because it's too instant for me. It's too instant. I can't imagine posting my immediate thoughts all the time. That's like, ugh, I need time to process my emotions and my thoughts where I'm just out here just raging, you know? But Matt had tweeted this. He said, I had to move because of threats on my life and my family, and I lost many thousands of dollars from demonetization, specifically, the key point, the key thing I want you to look at. I had to move because of threats on my life and my family. Okay, that's exactly what Karmelo's family did. Why is it different? Why is it different? We know they're getting threats. We know their rights upset. We know they are getting a bunch of threats and harms, and the mother and the father don't want their other kids affected, so they move. Why is that seen as a bad thing? I don't get it. Again, them moving to be safe from people having nothing to do with this case doesn't negate or deflect from the pain that Austin's family feels. No, but two things can be true at once. Can one family be grieving? Yes. Can another family be getting harassed and wanting to protect the other kids so they don't lose their lives either? Yeah. Another thing Matt Walsh said, Carmelo Anthony asked the police whether or not his actions qualify as self-defense. This alone proves he is guilty of murder. The question reveals that he was not even convinced of his own self-defense claim, open and shut case. Again, I could never imagine myself coming on this platform, and if I have, please call me out, but I can imagine coming on this platform, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it may be, anything online, and say definitively, it is this reason, open case shut, yada, yada, yada. The case is still ongoing, sir. It's not open and shut. Because another perspective into this take, because Karmelo, he wasn't hiding it. He admitted to it. He's like, yeah, that was me. He's like, isn't this self-defense, right? Like, I'm just want to make sure I'm good. It can be taken like that. He could have just been asking to double check his eyes and cross his. He's like, wait, was what I did was self-defense, right? Like, I'm not bugging. Like, I told him not to touch me, and he did, and I poke. We don't know. And I'm not going to come on here and act like I know every single thing. And then lastly, something else that Matt Walsh done tweeted, and I'm bringing him up specifically because his tweets have just been going crazy and getting tons of views, and I want to apply some like nuance and a different perspective to it. He said, the people supporting Carmelo Anthony don't really believe the BS that it was self-defense. They don't care about that. When the video comes out proving that this was cold-blooded homicide, it won't matter. They're happy that he killed a white kid. Isn't that simple? Is that not rage baiting and race baiting? Like, at this point, you're projecting the worst outcomes, and to a certain degree, I just feel like energy goes where attention flows. At a certain point, I just feel like breaking down these people don't believe the BS that it was self-defense. How are you going to say definitively that these many thousands of people don't believe that it was self-defense when they're allowed to believe whatever they want to believe in this case? And if it's proven that Karmelo and Austin got into a little scuffle and then it went poke, that's a little nuance, and it applies its same logic to a Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman where there's a big scuffle and a pew. Additionally, they don't care about that. They're just happy that it killed a white kid. This amplifies it all, Matt. It does. Everyone speaks so definitively on so much. And I don't know about you guys, but personally, I find it very tiring and very exhausting and a little bit draining. I can't imagine bringing myself to immediately have a take and an opinion on every single situation at hand immediately and speaking so confidently about these cases. If you want that from somebody, it ain't gonna be me. I'll tell you that right now. Black pastor.
I just want to send an apology to his family members on the behalf of the black community, on the behalf of our racism, our ignorance, the fact that we're justifying the murder of your son in the name of race. He's a human being. He was a good kid. He was a kid that did deserve to have his life snuffed out by some thug.
See, I don't think it's, am I crazy? Maybe some of y'all think I am. I don't think it was on the basis of race. Again, it wasn't like he just went up and said poke to a random white guy. There was an argument to be had. There was discussion. There was things that led up to it. So I don't think it was based purely off of race.
And I say he's a thug because when you kill anybody, you're a thug, right? Any type of murder makes you this thuggish behavior. And so he deserves, it is sad that they don't offer the death penalty and that they don't offer a life. He won't be getting life in prison, they're saying, because of his age, which is sad because he deserves both. Because this boy will never see the light of day. So I refuse to submit to racism. I'm not a racist person. I love white people just as much as I love black people. I'm a preacher. I'm a righteous preacher. So I don't see color because God won't allow me to. So I just apologize to the family that has to bear this on the behalf of a community.
That's a lot. That was a lot. I've been seeing a lot of these videos too of like black people that lean more right coming out, but on behalf of black people, I want to apologize, this and that. This is what it is. This is actually what happened. Again, I can't come on here and speak that confidently. I just can't. Can I say that it was wrong? Yeah, it was. It was wrong. It's unfortunate, but do we know every single little thing that went down under that tent as of right now? No. Are we harmful people for wanting to wait on that? Just because we know of the actions that took place? No. You're allowed to say, I want to wait and see everything that comes out, but at the same time saying, yeah, what Karmelo did was a little like over the top and wrong, and then also adding the context of like effing around and finding out, and it's just, there's so much with the case. It's so much. I don't know why people keep running to race. Austin's death.
My son watched his brother die in his arms.
17-year-old Austin Metcalf was voted MVP of the Frisco Memorial High School varsity football team. The linebacker held a near-perfect GPA and was in the National Honor Society.
He was on the right track. He was doing everything right. I was so proud.
Jeff Metcalf never imagined that his son's future would be cut short.
I'm still in shock.
Wednesday morning, Austin Metcalf was at a District 11 5A track meet at Kirkendall Stadium. Around 10 a.m., Frisco police say 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the chest after some sort of fight. Jeff Metcalf says it was Austin's twin brother, Hunter Metcalf, who tried to save him.
And his brother was holding him, trying to hold the blood in, and he passed. My son watched his brother die in his arms.
And it is unfortunate. And it is extremely sad, and I feel bad for that family and them losing their son. I don't know why we're not allowed to look at this case from an overarching perspective. It is very sad what happened to that boy. It is very unfortunate, and I don't think there's anyone out there that says otherwise. And if they do, it's typically because of the quote-unquote warning that was given and the ethic around the finding out part. But the fact that the guy's life is lost is sad, and they're saying they don't know exactly how the knife got in there. Is this in a backpack? It's so easy.
I have to answer that last part. And why did he have a knife at a track meet? It's the same reason I carry a gun to the grocery store. If somebody tries to rob me or cause harm to me in the grocery store or in the parking lot, I got an answer for that. And better yet, if some fool comes in the grocery store doing something they ain't got no business doing, like say, you know, what has happened nonstop, these fools walking in with assault rifles, shooting up the whole place and killing a whole bunch of people, guess what? I got an answer for that. I'm glad apparently where you live is nothing but rainbows and sunshine, but around here, people are getting shot and killed minding their own business. So guess what? You're a lot smarter if you have some kind of weapon on you than if you don't. This boy had a goddamn pocket knife. Y'all acting like he had a bazooka and an M16 sitting in the bag. He had a pocket knife. And the fact that he had to rummage through his bag to find it shows that he didn't even have it ready to go. It was just in there in case he needed it. And that day, he felt like he needed it.
When I I will pull up a story. I remember this happened back when I was living in Chicago. Here's a story of somebody getting poked in school. But then that's when they brought in the metal detectors. But for my school, we didn't have metal detectors. And everybody had a little pocket knife. When people were like, oh my gosh, how could he bring one to a track meet? It's in a backpack. You know how many kids have that in their backpacks? I don't know, y'all. I don't. Again, the title of this video, why people are defending Karmelo over Austin. I'm highlighting all these different perspectives to show you and give a little room. Like, if you really wonder, like, how is this possible? This is how. This is people's logic.
How are y'all upset that $150K was raised for the Anthony family when over $2 million was raised for Perry in his defense? When this case could really be a self-defense case because somebody actually put their hands on him. But in the case of Daniel Perry, Jordan did not even speak to him, let alone.
Which, again, rest in peace to Austin and his family. I'm sorry for all the things they're going through, but we know this to be a fact, at least in the police reports, that Austin did put his hands on Karmelo. I'm not saying what Karmelo did was justified and okay and peaches and cream, but there's context to it. There's a discussion to be had.
Over $2 million for a person who had no business attacking somebody for words? How many times do we have to say this? I'm not even mad. It's actually hilarious. If you're not going to support the Anthony family, then you seriously had no business supporting Perry either. And that is just the honest truth that y'all don't want to hear or don't want to own up to. Like I said in my last video, this here is just a lack of accountability mixed in with the history of America. No one should get away with what those men did, but one did. So why can't the other?
And that's the logic that these people think. They're saying, okay, if Andrew Penny, over $3 million raised for him, he gets off scot-free for choking out and unaliving a black man because the black man was on the train threatening to, unalive other people, and he was just acting a fool on the train. Andrew comes on, chokes the man out, and the man passes away. Andrew gets to let go scot-free. And that was the logic that the right had in defense of Daniel. I gave my opinion on that Daniel Penny case. I feel like he's been arrested multiple times. He was on the train threatening people. I mean, like, so be it. All right. You can watch that video if you want my context on that. People are applying that logic to that now. They're saying, okay, well, Karmelo was touched, gave him a warning, poke. Yeah, we're gonna ride for Karmelo and defend him because y'all were out there defending Andrew, and so we're keeping it a buck. That's how they're looking at it. That's what's going down. I don't understand this. I don't understand the reaction to this all. I really don't. From the hyperfixating on the race, to caring about the donations, to acting like he just went up and poked somebody at random, to like ignoring the context, but to ignore how Karmelo went 0 to 100. It's also silly. My opinion. I'm over it. I'm over the BS. I'm over of everybody turning everything into a race war. I'm over the left versus the right, the black versus white, not applying context, not giving room for trials to be had, not giving room for more receipts, more facts, more videos to come out. Everyone being an immediate expert. One day you're an expert in environmentalism, the next you're an expert in finance and trade laws, the next you're an expert in self-defense laws and being a lawyer and can break down this case. Are you not tired? I am. More and more people are getting so emotionally invested and charged over this case when it's like, just let it play out. Again, if it was completely unprovoked, people are saying it's unprovoked. It definitely was not at random. We all can at least agree on that this is not a black boy running up to a white boy, poke, running off. That's not what happened at all. So knowing that there's more at hand, why can't we just let it be? So many people getting up in arms about, well, the what ifs. If it was a black guy, yada, yada, yada. Well, it wasn't. So why are we upset? If it was, yeah, I'd be upset. I would be upset and I'd call it all the fakeness and this and that, and no, y'all need to be consistent and don't be up in arms because you don't care about the black lives. I would call it out. But this case, that isn't what happened. And that a lot of people talking about, well, we're mad because it's a black kid getting away with poking a white kid, and if the roles were reversed, it would be upset, it would be up in arms, it would be protests. Maybe, we don't know because that's not what happened. At that, it wasn't at random. Y'all, let me know your comments below. Where do you land? I know there's probably a lot of people that do disagree with me, that do agree, but at the end of the day, you are always going to get my opinion on my channel. It's what you're subbed for. We're not always going to agree with each other, but I don't expect you to. I don't agree 100% with anybody. You know what I'm saying? That's my view on this. My opinion is over all this race BS. I do feel like there's more context to this. I don't think Karmelo maybe necessarily should be like let off scot-free, because unless he was being jumped, sure, or there was punches thrown and he felt fearful of his life, whatever. Because there's a big difference between touch me again and see what happens. Touch, yeah, that's a lot different than touch me again and see what happens. Bink, bink, yeah. There's a big difference in that, and we don't know exactly what went down under that tent yet. So with that being said, that's why I'm giving room for this to grow and understand what's going on. But let me know your comments below, what you think. I'd love to know your opinion. As always, I appreciate you watching my videos, chatting with me in the comments, chatting with others, sharing your opinion, letting your voice be heard. It's important. And the one thing I want you to take away from this video is don't allow your emotions to cloud your discernment. It's okay to look at these situations from a different perspective, or remove your ego, remove yourself, and just look at it for what it is. That's fine. Because at the end of the day, you still got your bills to take care of. You still got your own life to take care of. So take care of that. I'm not saying you can't give your opinion. Everybody can give their opinion. But I'm seeing a lot of people be more emotionally invested in this case than their own lives. And it's quite shocking to see. So again, thank you for sharing my videos, chatting with everybody. I am appreciative of you guys being here. There's so much to be announced within the next few months. There's a huge announcement coming in May. All I'm gonna say is I can't wait to meet you guys very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And as always, take care of yourself. Like I mentioned before, if you focus on you and only you, you will achieve any goal you set out there to achieve. You just literally have to push forward through any BS that comes your way. Lock in, tunnel vision, lock in, focus on you and only you, and you will get there. So that being said, much love, and I'll see you right in the next video. Deuces.